I woke up on my daughter's wedding day with a full heart, a quiet house, and no invitation. That sentence still feels unreal when I say it out loud, but that was the morning everything finally became clear. My name is Margaret Collins, and I am a mother who believed love meant sacrifice, even when that sacrifice slowly erased me. I raised my daughter Emily believing that if I gave her enough, she would never feel the fear I once knew. I grew up in a home where money was always short and voices were always loud. I promised myself that my child would grow up safe, supported, and certain that someone was always in her corner. Emily was born on a rainy night in Cleveland, Ohio, and from the moment I held her, my life changed direction. Her father left when she was 6. He said he needed space. What he really needed was freedom from responsibility. From that day forward, it was just Emily and me. I worked 2 jobs for years. I learned how to stretch meals, repair broken things, and hide exhaustion behind a smile. I never talked about what I wanted because what I wanted didn't matter anymore. Emily mattered. She was bright, curious, and ambitious. She dreamed big. Big cities. Big lives. Big futures. I encouraged every dream because I thought that was what good mothers did. I didn't realize that in helping her climb higher, I was teaching her that I belonged below. The call about the engagement came on a quiet Thursday afternoon. "Mom!" Emily shouted through the phone. "Jason proposed." I sat down so quickly that my knees shook. Jason Miller. Polished, successful, confident. He worked in marketing and spoke about branding the way other people spoke about family. His parents lived in California and took international trips like it was normal. "I'm so happy for you," I said, and I meant it. Then Emily said, "We want a dream wedding." Those 4 words carried more weight than I understood at the time. The planning started immediately. Emily sent links morning and night. Venues, dresses, photographers, caterers. Everything was beautiful. Everything was expensive. She never demanded. She asked gently, like she was afraid to scare me away. "What do you think, Mom? Is this too much? We can change it if you want." I never said no. The venue came first. A vineyard in Napa Valley, white stone arches, green hills rolling into the distance. It looked like something from a magazine. The price was $18,000. Then came the dress. Then another dress. One for the ceremony. One for the reception. Silk, lace, custom tailoring. Nearly $10,000. The photographer flew in from New York. The videographer from Los Angeles. The flowers were imported. The cake was designed to match the venue. There was a string quartet, handwritten place cards, and personalized gifts for guests. Every time I wrote another check, I felt a mix of pride and fear. Pride because I could give her this. Fear because I was giving everything. By the end, I had paid $47,000. I told myself it was worth it. The first crack appeared quietly, almost politely. We were at a bridal boutique in San Francisco. Emily stood in front of the mirror, glowing in white silk. The consultants hovered around her, praising every detail. One of them turned to me and smiled. "And what will Mom be wearing?" Emily answered before I could. "We're still working on that." Her smile was tight. Later, in the car, she stared out the window and sighed. "Mom, this wedding has a very specific look." I laughed softly. "I'll find something nice." She hesitated. "You don't really do fashion." "And I just don't want anything to feel off." The word "off" stayed with me. I nodded and changed the subject. "I wish I hadn't." 2 weeks before the wedding, Emily came to my house. She didn't sit down. She didn't smile. "Mom, we need to talk." My stomach tightened. She took a deep breath. "We think it's better if you don't attend the wedding." The room went silent. She rushed to explain. It's not personal. It's about the vibe. The aesthetic. People notice things. Jason stood behind her, silent, avoiding my eyes. You understand, she said softly. You always do. I felt something inside me break, but I didn't show it. If that's what you want, I said. Relief washed over her face. She hugged me quickly, thanked me, and left. I sat alone long after the door closed. The wedding day arrived anyway. I woke early, made coffee, and sat by the window. I had nowhere to go. My phone buzzed with notifications. Photos appeared. The vineyard. The flowers. The guests. Emily walking down the aisle. I watched my daughter get married through other people's screens. I cried quietly so no one could hear. Life moved forward, pretending nothing had changed. Emily and Jason were busy. Married life was exciting. I was left with silence. Then, 2 months later, my phone rang late at night. Emily was crying. The honeymoon resort in Bora Bora had overbooked. The villa was gone. The replacement cost $9,800 more. Mom, please, she said. We need it now. I closed my eyes. I only pay for special occasions, I said calmly. This is special, she replied. And I wasn't, I said. The line went quiet. Then she accused me of being bitter. Of punishing her. Of changing. She hung up. The days that followed were silent. Some family members called to tell me I was wrong. Others said nothing. For the first time in my life, I didn't explain myself. I booked something I had postponed for years. A cruise. Alone. Standing on the deck, watching the ocean stretch endlessly, I felt lighter than I had in decades. I wasn't invisible there. I wasn't embarrassing. I was just a woman finally choosing herself. One evening, as the sun dipped into the water, my phone buzzed. A message appeared. From Emily. I stared at the screen, unsure whether to open it, knowing that whatever waited inside could either heal old wounds or open new ones, and I wasn't sure which I was ready for. Didn't open Emily's message right away. The phone sat in my hand as the ship moved slowly through the dark water, lights from the deck reflecting like broken stars. For years, I had answered every call from my daughter without hesitation. I had rushed, fixed, paid, forgiven. This time, I waited. Because something had changed in me. And once something changes, it never fully goes back. I finally opened the message when I was alone in my cabin, the gentle hum of the engine filling the silence. Mom, can we talk? Please. That was all it said. No apology. No explanation. Just a request. I stared at the screen for a long time, wondering how a single sentence could carry so much history. I didn't reply that night. The next morning, I woke up early and walked the deck as the sun rose over the ocean. For the first time in years, I didn't feel rushed. No schedule to follow. No one needing me to solve something. Just the sound of water and the feeling of space around me. That freedom scared me more than loneliness ever had. Because freedom meant choice. And choice meant responsibility for my own happiness. When I finally replied, my message was simple. We can talk when I'm back. She responded immediately. Okay. That was it. I didn't know then that those 2 words marked the beginning of something neither of us was prepared for. The rest of the cruise passed quietly. I met people. I listened to their stories. Retired teachers. Widows. Couples who had learned, too late, that love didn't survive neglect. I realized how many people spent their lives giving until there was nothing left. At night, I stood at the railing and wondered when I had started believing that being needed was the same as being loved. When I returned home to Ohio, my house felt different. Not empty. Just quiet. I unpacked slowly, placed souvenirs on shelves, and noticed something strange. I didn't feel the familiar ache of waiting for Emily to call. I felt steady. 3 days later, she did. "Can I come over?" she asked. Her voice sounded careful. "Yes," I said. Emily arrived that afternoon, dressed simply, no makeup, hair pulled back. She looked smaller somehow. Younger. Like the girl she used to be before the world taught her how to curate herself. She stood in the doorway, unsure. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, Emily." She followed me into the living room and sat on the edge of the couch. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "I was wrong." The words landed softly, but they landed. "I didn't see it before," she continued. "I didn't realize how hurtful everything was." I stayed quiet. She took a breath. "Jason and I fought. A lot. About money. About expectations. About you." I looked at her. "He thought I went too far," she admitted. "He said excluding you was cruel." Something twisted in my chest. Not satisfaction. Something heavier. "And what do you think?" I asked. She hesitated. I think I was embarrassed. There it was. Not denial. Not excuses. Just truth. "I wanted everything to look perfect," she said. "I thought that meant controlling every detail. I didn't realize I was controlling people." She started crying then, quietly. "I didn't mean to erase you." I wanted to reach for her. Years of instinct pulled me forward. But I didn't move. "I know," I said. "But you did." Emily wiped her face. "We're struggling," she said. "The honeymoon wasn't just about the resort. We're stressed. Jason feels pressure to keep up an image. I feel like I don't know who I am anymore." She looked at me. "I miss you." That sentence almost broke me. Almost. "I love you," I said carefully. "But things can't go back to how they were." Her eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "I won't disappear for you anymore," I said. "I won't buy my place in your life. I won't accept being hidden." She nodded slowly. "I understand," she said. "I think." We sat in silence, the kind that wasn't angry but wasn't comfortable either. Before she left, she hugged me longer this time. "I hope we can rebuild," she said. "So do I replied. But hope, I was learning, wasn't a guarantee. Weeks passed. Emily called more often. Sometimes to talk. Sometimes to vent. Sometimes just to ask how I was. I answered, but I no longer rearranged my life around every ring. I joined a book club. I took weekend trips. I learned how to say, "I can't today." And slowly, something shifted. Then one evening, Emily showed up unexpectedly. Her eyes were red. "Jason moved out," she said. The words echoed through the room. She explained that the pressure, the debt, the expectations had cracked something between them. He felt like he was living inside a performance. She felt like she had to keep proving she belonged in a world that never truly felt like home. "I don't know who I became," she whispered. I sat beside her. "This is where you figure it out," I said. "Not by pretending. By being honest." She leaned into me, and for the first time in years, it felt mutual. But healing is never a straight line. A month later, Emily asked something that made my heart stop. "Mom," she said slowly, "could you help us financially? Just a little. Until things settle." I felt the old reflex rise. Then I stopped. "What kind of help?" I asked. She named the amount. I thought of the vineyard. The dresses. The wedding I wasn't allowed to attend. "I can help," I said, "but with boundaries." She looked surprised. I won't fund appearances, I continued. I'll support real needs. Counseling. Practical things. Not image. She nodded. That's fair. For the first time, she didn't argue. Months passed. Emily and Jason went to counseling. Slowly, painfully, they learned how much damage expectations could do. Sometimes they were close. Sometimes distant. I stayed out of it. I stayed in my lane. And that was new for all of us. One afternoon, Emily invited me to lunch. She looked nervous. We're planning something small, she said. Just family. A vow renewal. Nothing fancy. I waited. And, she added, I want you there. Front row. With me. My throat tightened. I'd like that, I said. She smiled, relieved. The day of the ceremony arrived months later. No vineyard. No photographers flying in. Just a quiet garden, folding chairs, and real smiles. Emily walked toward Jason slowly, her eyes scanning the crowd until they found me. She smiled. And for the first time, I felt seen. After the ceremony, she hugged me and whispered, I'm sorry it took losing you to understand your value. I held her tighter. Sometimes, I said, that's how lessons work. That night, I went home alone. But I didn't feel lonely. I felt whole. As I placed my purse on the table, my phone buzzed again. A message. From an unknown number. It read. Margaret Collins? This is someone who needs to talk to you about Emily's wedding expenses. My heart skipped. Because some stories don't end when we think they do. And some truths still wait to be uncovered.